So apart from the work I do at AUEB and TU Delft, I also contribute to open source software. I write technical books, and I'm also running a MOOC on doing data software and production engineering with Unix tools available on edX. As part of the programming I do, I faced a difficult task, debugging task this summer. And I was interacting with a GDB, a debugger that's used, asking it some questions because it has a very obscure interface. And another question, it is giving me the answer, and I was copy-pasting the answer, copying the answer from ChatGPT back to GDB, and another one. And this was getting tedious. So at some point I thought, wouldn't it be cool to automate this asking question, copying, and pasting. And 261 ChatGPT prompts later, because I used ChatGPT to program, I came up with ai-cli-lib, an AI-enabled library that plugs into any command line tool that uses readlines, a way to interact at the command line, and through that, give you directly the answer that you want. So what I will present today is, first of all, how one can create an AI productivity improvement tool, how you can use ai-cli for your productivity improvement, an overview of how it was, how I created it, and finally my personal view of how I used AI for developing software. So what's ai-cli? It's a library which you can install in your system, and it plugs in directly to tools that use a command line interface, such as Bash, SQLite, or the GNU debugger, allowing you, while you're using the command, to write a prompt in English and get directly the command that you want there to execute. Here is an example of it being used. So this is an example of a shell prompt. I wanted to list all C and header files, and it gives me that the command should be ls star.c star.h. I'm asking it what is the largest one of them. This is again at the bash prompt, but I press a special key, and it tells me use this pipeline to get this response. I can now switch, for example, use another command that again uses a command line interface, such as SQLite, and continue there with doing that. It runs on Linux, on Windows under Cygwin, of course, WSL, and also on macOS. How do you install it? You can pick it up from GitHub, run a few commands to build it, and then you can directly, after setting an environment variable, all commands unmodified get this AI capability. The only thing to do, you need to configure it, and for that, because it talks to OpenAI's systems on the back, you need to obtain a key for interacting with OpenAI's API. You can get a trial key for free, but even if you pay for it, I use it extensively, and over the past couple of months, I've paid something like 4 cents for it. It's for low usage, it's nothing. How do you use it? When you write your prompt, then you press Ctrl+A for AI, if you're using the default Emacs key bindings, or Escape and V if you have switched to the VI bindings of the command line, and you get directly the answer. Here are actual examples of how I've used it in the past. I've given it a log capability to see how it's used. As you can see, I'm not very good at knowing Git commands, so I prompt things like show me the Git commits between tag so and so, and it gives me beneath the corresponding Git commands. I had the merge conflict, and it removed the file and gave me what to do to add it, and I want to see a specific path, a file in a specific path, and give me a command. In one case, for a very long prompt, it actually gave me 2 commands that I needed to execute. So it's pretty good. Of course, at the end, it gives you the command, and you have to press Enter, because you don't want to get a command that will delete all your files by mistake. How did I build it? So what does it take to build an AI-enabled tool? I talked to the OpenAI API through this command. This is different from what you see. How many of you have used ChatGPT in this week? Okay, it's a bit different. What you do is you send a JSON request, such as that specifies a context. You are an assistant who provides executable commands in the bash command line interface, and a specific question. As a user, tell me the files, list the files in the current directory. And what it does, it comes up with a JSON response. The most important part is that I, as an assistant, tell you that the answer is ls. It also gives you how many tokens it has used, words or parts of words, which is useful because you pay by the tokens that it has read and answered. An important part when you write an AI tool is prompting. How many of you are aware of prompt engineering? Okay, it's a black art of how you create prompts to ChatGPT or other such models to make them do what you want. Here's a person who convinced ChatGPT to give him specific keys for installing Windows by pretending that ChatGPT was his deceased grandmother, and it obliged. So in my case, this is a prompt. I'm saying I want you to be in a single line without any explanations, hints, or adornments, and some other things. Also, another thing that helps with prompt engineering is to give further examples. This is called multi-shot learning. So I'm giving some examples. If I ask SQLite to show available tables, it will use the .tables command. If I want to see the average grade of students, it gives me an SQLSL command. And if I give it something gibberish, it should tell me, sorry, I can't help, as an SQL comment. Finally, what was my experience in developing this tool using AI? First of all, that AI systems, I used extensively ChatGPT, have a very wide knowledge, so it's often a lot better than Stack Overflow and manuals. I went through my browser history database and counted the number of visits I made to Stack Overflow every month. And as you can see, from middle of 2023, beginning of 2023 onward, it has fallen from about 100 visits per month to below 10 per month. Why? I've stopped using Stack Overflow. I'm using ChatGPT a lot more. It's a lot faster and a lot less distracting. At some point, they will also add ads, and I will have to rethink. ChatGPT is very good at APIs and programming in the small. So if you ask it a precise answer, it will quickly give you a response that you can copy-paste. If you are using copilot, you will have it directly in your program. On the other hand, ChatGPT and similar models get overwhelmed by large tasks. As an example, I gave to some of our students the ability to write an exam with open access to ChatGPT with an extensive task. Those that gave the whole task to it failed the exam, although they were able to use ChatGPT and give it the whole task. Because it was large, the ChatGPT never gave them the correct answer. So prompting is important. And what you get out of prompting, one thing is that AI will often provide wrong answers and hallucinations, and you need to be prepared for that. What should you be doing? 3 things. First of all, you should know what you are doing. I use ChatGPT for programming, and I'm happy with that because I know how to program. I would not use it to perform heart surgery on you, although I'm sure it would give me answers because I have no idea how to perform open heart surgery. Second, you should check the answers. Verify them against a manual, a known page, a way to be able to write the answer and see if the compiler barks at you or not. And thirdly, you should test the answer, write test cases. Do not take it for granted because it will very happily give you answers that are completely wrong, look very plausible, but will be completely wrong. During those prompts that I told you, these are examples of answers that ChatGPT gave me that were wrong, and of course it's always very polite. I apologize for the confusion, apologies, and this will never happen again, and my apologies. But in fact, it always gives you wrong answers. You should be prepared for that and deal with it accordingly. So break your task into small pieces. It will work very well with that, and test every answer that you write. This is anyway best practice when we program. Thank you very much for your attention.